The biting word struck me with the force of a physical blow. You think you're so important, Elara? What right do you have to interfere with my life? 8 years of my life, 8 years of love shattered in an instant. Tears streamed down my face, hot and relentless. I, his girlfriend of 8 years, was being thrown out of our home. Don't ever come back here, Elara. I don't want you anymore. A few days later, outside a swanky KTV lounge, I encountered her again. Only then did the devastating truth sink in. She was nothing more than a hostess. He had ended our 8-year relationship for a bar hostess. The realization made my stomach churn with a sickening blend of anger and disgust. I thought then that I had finally seen Noah's true colors. But oh, how wrong I was. The days that followed were a torment of regret. I knew with every fiber of my being that no matter where he was, no matter how far I had to go, I would find him. I would marry him. Elara apologized to Chloe. I had just slapped the hostess, Chloe, when Noah surged forward, shoving me back with a furious roar. His finger rigid with rage as he pointed at me. My vision blurred with shock. I simply couldn't comprehend it. He had ended things with me for a bar hostess. And now he was demanding I apologize to her. Noah, you want me to apologize? You're here at a KTV living it up, and you want me to apologize? My voice cracked raw with disbelief. And to a hostess of all people. Are you completely out of your mind? Rage consumed me, eclipsing any semblance of reason. 8 years. 8 years of unwavering devotion. A relationship I believed was destined for forever. Reduced to ashes by a single cheap fling. The humiliation mixed with a fierce, protective anger. It wasn't just anger. It was pure, unadulterated disgust. Noah, however, pulled Chloe into his embrace, sheltering her, his eyes blazing with fury. What's wrong with being a hostess? Chloe is just trying to make a living. He snarled, his voice colder than I'd ever heard it. And last night I made myself perfectly clear. I don't want you anymore. Why are you still clinging on? He turned, trying to walk away, his arm still around Chloe. I grabbed his arm, desperation clawing at my throat. Noah, you're not leaving until we clear this up. What exactly did I lose to a woman like her? Noah roughly shook me off and Chloe, seizing the opportunity, slapped me hard across the face. How dare you insult me? I'm just a hostess, I don't steal or cheat. Why can't I find love? Her voice, though shrill, held a venomous edge. Noah chose me. He doesn't want you anymore. Can't you understand that? Noah offered no help. Instead, he simply sneered. Elara, we've already broken up. Wouldn't it be better if you left gracefully? Do you really have to make such a scene? He paused, a cruel smile, twisting his lips. Fine, if you insist on a reason, I'll give it to you. You're inferior to Chloe in every way. Your figure, your looks, your personality. Compared to her, you're nothing. The dam finally broke. Tears, hot and uncontrollable, poured from my eyes. I stared at him, numb with disbelief. He actually said that? He said I was inferior to a hostess? Was this truly the Noah I knew? 8 years ago, in our freshman year of high school, we'd fallen for each other the moment school started, quickly becoming inseparable. I struggled with my studies, but for all 3 years of high school, he tutored me almost every day. We even got into the same prestigious university, becoming the most envied couple on campus. Our entire class eagerly anticipated our wedding after graduation, and that day was so close. Just last month, after he was promoted to department manager at his company, Noah had suddenly proposed. He had personally placed the engagement ring on my finger. Only last month, I had been so overwhelmed with emotion, crying tears of joy for our beautiful love story. How could I have known that after just one business trip, Noah would transform into this monstrous stranger? Noah, how could you have become like this? Is this truly you? I cried, my heart aching, tears streaming down my face. He merely scoffed, a sneer twisting his lips. It's your fault for coming back early from your trip. I merely let you see my true self. Aren't all men like this? His voice hardened. If you can't accept it, then get out. Aren't all men like this? Was that his justification for cheating, for carousing outside our home? Chloe, meanwhile, clung to Noah's arm, her voice sickly sweet. Darling, just ignore her. Women like her are too immature. They can't even accept something as minor as a man enjoying himself a little. Noah kissed her forehead. You're right, my love. She just needs a lesson. I used to protect her, Too much, you see, she's never faced the harsh realities of society. After a few beatings, she'll understand my good intentions. With those callous words, Noah turned to re-enter the club, eager to resume his hedonistic revelry. Noah! My sharp cry stopped him. He paused, annoyed, turning to face me. What else do you want? I stared fixedly into his eyes, and without a moment's hesitation, I pulled off the engagement ring he'd placed on my finger less than a month ago. Take this back. From this moment on, we go our separate ways. The ring struck Noah's chest, then clattered to the ground. Noah pressed his lips together, then bent down and picked it up. For a fleeting instant, his face seemed to pale, but just as quickly, a mocking smile returned. Then, he slid the ring onto Chloe's finger, scoffing. If you don't want something so valuable, someone else certainly will. He squeezed Chloe's hand. Isn't it beautiful, darling? This ring cost me $30,000. Now it's yours. Hearing that the ring was worth $30,000, Chloe's eyes immediately sparkled. She stood on tiptoe and right in front of me planted a loud kiss on Noah's cheek. Darling, you're so good to me. I had believed, back then, that Noah had bought that ring with 2 months' worth of salary, that he had secretly eaten instant noodles for weeks, just to afford it. But now, he had so nonchalantly placed it on the hand of a bar hostess. It became chillingly clear. He had been hiding things from me. His wealth far exceeded my imagination. He had simply been pretending to be poor all along, making me endure a hard life by his side. He thought that with love, I would be devoted to him forever. Noah, you bastard! Watching the ring on Chloe's finger, my emotions completely unraveled. I screamed, then turned and ran, tears streaming down my face. I truly didn't want this man anymore. He disgusted me. He was terrifying. I stumbled blindly through the streets. The sky, as if mirroring my despair, opened up with a sudden downpour, drenching me instantly. But perhaps it was for the best. At least the rain concealed my tears. I don't know how long I walked. In the torrent, my heels chafed raw by my shoes, blood mixing with salty rainwater. Each step a fresh stab of pain. Yet, even that physical agony couldn't compare to the desolation in my heart. This man, I had loved him for 8 long years, seeing him as the most important person in my life. But now I had lost to a mere hostess. The image of them kissing the moment they entered the house was burned into my mind, a tormenting movie scene that I couldn't erase. Unconsciously, I found myself back at our apartment building. This apartment where Noah and I lived we had bought together. Though he paid the larger share, at least a portion of it was mine. What right did he have to throw me out? He was the one who cheated. If anyone should leave, it should be him. The thought ignited a fierce resolve. Without hesitation, I returned home. I stepped into the bathroom, letting the hot water cascade over me for nearly an hour. Only then did my body begin to thaw, the shivers subsiding. Afterwards, I collapsed onto the sofa, and whether from exhaustion or grief, I drifted into a fitful sleep. I was jolted awake by a sudden clamor. Noah, heavily intoxicated, fumbled with the key for what felt like an eternity before finally getting it into the lock. He stumbled through the door, staggering erratically. He carelessly kicked off his shoes, then swayed into the living room, nearly toppling onto me. I quickly scrambled out of the way, watching as he collapsed onto the carpet beside me. Only then did he truly register my presence, his bloodshot eyes holding a long blank stare. Elara, why are you still here lingering about? This is my home. What right do you have to be back? He sat on the floor, staring at me for a long moment before slurring the words. I own a part of this house. What right do you have to tell me to leave? I shot back, my voice trembling with indignation. If anyone's getting out, it's you. Noah, look at you. What have you become? Noah let out a hollow laugh. What have I become? I'm doing great, aren't I? He continued, his voice strangely lucid despite the alcohol. Now I don't have to pretend anymore. It feels amazing. Or, can you accept me like this? If you can, even better. You and Chloe can get along well in the future. I promise I won't treat either of you badly. Smack. Hearing his disgusting words, I couldn't control myself. I slapped him hard across the face. Noah, snap out of it. The slap seemed to clear his eyes a little. Much of his drunkenness appeared to dissipate. Then he stood up, pulled out his wallet, and flung a bank card at me. When we bought this place, you put in $30,000, right? There's 50,000 in this card. The password is your birthday. Now you can get out. I had expected that slap to shock him, to make him realize his mistake. I thought he would cry and beg me to stay. Instead, he just threw money at me and told me to get lost. Now I truly was less than a hostess in his eyes. Noah, what do you take me for? I screamed, my voice raw and hoarse. He flung the bank card hard at me. Elara, don't be ungrateful, he sneered. If I gave this money to Chloe, she worshipped the ground I walk on. And you give me attitude every single day. Damn it, I spoiled you too much before. I let you forget what you are. Tears once again refused to be held back. Noah, you bastard. So, in your eyes, I'm just another hostess too. I stayed with you for 8 years, 8 full years of my youth. The best years of my life wasted on a bastard like you. I collapsed onto the sofa, hugging my knees, sobbing uncontrollably. The overwhelming injustice and heartbreak were too much to bear. How many 8-year periods does a woman have in her life? Especially the most precious ones. Seeing me curled up on the sofa, sobbing uncontrollably, Noah finally fell silent. However, just as I thought he must have realized what a bastard he was, I saw him slumped against the sofa arm, fast asleep. A profound, crushing weariness settled over me. This man was truly beyond redemption. In the end, I left. I went to my best friend Maya's apartment, where I hugged her and cried the entire night. Maya was furious, unable to comprehend how Noah could have suddenly transformed into such a person. After all, she, like my other friends, had always seen him as the perfect boyfriend. And he had always been someone with clear boundaries. My friends were all beautiful, but he had never even added them on social media, nor would he ever seek them out alone. Many times Maya had praised him to me, saying I had trained my boyfriend exceptionally well. Elara, men are perverse. Since he's trying to provoke you now, you should provoke him back, Maya declared, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Who knows, a little provocation might scare him straight. He'll come crawling back to you. Spurred on by Maya's urging, that very evening, I deliberately dressed provocatively and went to a bar Noah had frequented recently. I found him there, carousing with his friends, and without hesitation, I threw myself onto the dance floor. I moved freely among the men, my low-cut top hinting at more than it revealed, making me look like a woman who frequented such establishments. From time to time I glanced towards Noah's booth and saw him too, occasionally looking up at me. It seemed Maya's theory was correct. This kind of provocation would surely ignite his possessiveness. Sure enough, he couldn't stand it any longer. He got up, bringing his friends with him, and came over to our booth. What's it to you? The words were already on the tip of my tongue, waiting for his furious interrogation. However, guys, let me introduce you to my ex-girlfriend. He turned to me, a cruel smirk on his face. Right, Elara? I hadn't expected him to say that. My challenging gaze instantly faltered. Seeing my silence, his smirk widened. My ex-girlfriend's not bad-looking, right? Ben, how about I set you up with her? She's probably your type, isn't she? The bar's music chose that moment to abruptly cut out, making his words echo clearly for everyone to hear. The atmosphere instantly became excruciatingly awkward. Noah, you've had too much to drink, Ben, his friend said awkwardly, tugging at his arm. But Noah shook him off. I've barely had anything, how could I be drunk? Do you know why I broke up with her? He laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. It's because I'm sick of playing with this woman. I'm still young. A young man should play with many women, shouldn't he? Why give up a whole forest for one flower? Ha ha ha. Noah held his liquor bottle aloft, roaring with laughter. He looked utterly alien. He was completely unrecognizable from the man he once was. Noah, you really are a bastard. This time, even Maya couldn't stand it. She swore at him. Noah, unperturbed, simply raised an eyebrow. Good insult. Being a bastard feels good, and I'm happy. Just then, new music blared. He swayed to the rhythm, walking onto the dance floor, and began flirting with a new woman. Soon they were pressed close, dancing intimately, right in front of me. I bit back my tears, downing drink after drink. This man, I was utterly, completely done with him. He had truly become a full-fledged bastard. Throughout the night, several other men approached me, trying to flirt. Maya angrily cursed them, telling them to get lost. But under the influence of alcohol, allowed them to stay. Noah could be wild. Why couldn't I be wild too? I kept pouring drinks down my throat, wishing I could just drink myself to death. I lost count of how much I drank. In a haze, I felt a man's arm around my waist leading me towards the bar exit. My body was weak and limp in his embrace, and I couldn't even make out his features. I had no idea who he was. Then, as he scooped me up and tried to push me into the back seat of a car, Noah suddenly appeared, delivering a powerful punch to the man's face. The man cried out in pain, collapsing to the ground, groaning. Maya, unable to find me, frantically rushed out of the bar. Seeing me, she quickly pulled me out of the car. Noah, what are you doing? Where were you trying to take Elara? Maya didn't know the full situation, still thinking Noah was trying to take me away. Noah, hearing her, let out a harsh laugh, then pointed to the man writhing on the ground. You'd play with a woman like this? Brother, you must be truly starving. With those words, Noah turned and walked away. Maya took me home. After drinking some honey water, I began to sober up. And then the fear began to set in. I realized what it would have meant if that stranger had indeed taken me away. So Noah, he still cared about me, didn't he? The next morning, I rushed back to the apartment, wanting to ask Noah why he had still helped me. But when I entered, I found a real estate agent with clients looking at the place. Noah, what right do you have to sell the apartment? Cried, turning to him in fury. Noah saw me and frowned. My name is on the property deed. I can sell this apartment whenever I want. What's it to you? I also contributed money when we bought this place. What right do you have to sell it without my consent? I remembered 2 years ago, when Noah and I had spent over a month looking for this apartment. We had finally chosen this small dream home. To save money, we had even done much of the renovation work ourselves, meticulously building it piece by piece. I had even strained my back doing the grout work, leaving me bedridden for a week. Noah had brought me tea and water every day, blaming himself for not spending the extra money and causing me pain. But now, he was selling the apartment without a moment's hesitation. The clients, sensing a dispute, said they would return once we had resolved our issues. But as they were about to leave, Noah stopped them. I told you, only my name is on the deed. If I want to sell it, I can. He added. If you sign the contract today, I'll even drop the price by another $5,000. And just like that, Noah ignored my protests and forcibly sold the apartment. Because my name wasn't on the deed, I was powerless, forced to watch as he signed the contract. Noah, what do you need so much money for? Roared once the clients had left. He merely sneered. I've broken up with you. Why would I keep this apartment? Besides, this is the peak of my career. Entertaining clients at bars and KTVs costs money, doesn't it? He threw another card at me. With this money, in 3 years I can buy a huge villa. Elara, don't be a stumbling block in my path, all right? He added, his voice cold. There's 100,000 in this card. You only spent 30,000 when we bought this place. A threefold return on your investment. You should be satisfied. From today on, don't bother me again. Pack up all your belongings from this house, or else I'll throw everything out. Tears in my eyes, I gathered all my belongings. However, back at Maya's place, as I sorted through my things, I found a smart robot figurine Noah had given me last year. It had a small camera on its head. Not only could it monitor every corner of the house for me, but it could also intelligently perform various tasks. I pulled out the memory card and inserted it into my computer. But when I clicked on the videos, my emotions shattered into a million pieces. I ran out of Maya's apartment like a madwoman, startling her badly. Elara, where are you going? What happened? I ignored her, rushing back to Noah's, our apartment. But the main door was already locked. I frantically punched in the code, my hands trembling violently. However, when I finally got the door open, I found Noah's belongings gone. He hadn't even taken his clothes. They were packed in a cardboard box with a note on top. Please, throw these away for me. Thanks. Seeing this, my fear intensified. I immediately pulled out my phone and called Noah, but the call wouldn't connect. I rushed to Noah's company, but once there, I learned that Noah had resigned a week ago. Do you know why he resigned? Was he poached by another company? I frantically questioned his colleague, an ever-growing sense of dread coiling in my stomach. I don't think so. If he was poached, Mr. Hayes wouldn't have let him leave so easily. He signed a non-compete agreement, and he didn't even take his bonus. Felt like he left in a real hurry. Buzz. At that moment my head spun. Noah must have encountered something terrible. Otherwise, he wouldn't be acting so abnormally. In the video I had just seen, during the days I was away on my business trip, Noah hadn't been carousing outside every night. Instead he had been curled up on the sofa, clutching his head, sobbing uncontrollably. I was gone for 3 days. He cried for 3 entire days. I knew his personality better than anyone. It had to be something immense, something utterly devastating to break him like that. His desperate haste to break up with me was only to avoid implicating me. Noah, where are you? What happened to you? I can face it with you. Why did you leave? Leaving his company, I rushed to the KTV lounge and found Chloe. Perhaps she knew something. However, she was even angrier than I was. When she saw me, don't even mention that bastard. He's a complete scumbag. How would I know where he went? I hope he's dead and I don't ever have to know. Chloe glared at me furiously. Only then did I notice that the engagement ring Noah had placed on her hand was gone. Where's the ring Noah gave you? You wretched woman, did you sell it? My mention of the engagement ring only enraged Chloe. Further, he took it back, she spat. I've never met such a disgusting man. He gave it to me and then he forcibly ripped it off my finger. My finger still hurts. She then added, a hint of genuine sympathy in her voice. You were right to leave a man like that. But her words only made me cry harder. No. He's not the person you think he is. At that moment I realized with crushing certainty that everything Noah had done was merely to provoke me, to force me to break up with him. It was also he wouldn't drag me down. In the days that followed, I tried every possible way to find news of Noah, but he had vanished as if into thin air. No matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find him. No one knew where he had gone. In the 8 years we had been together, Noah had never mentioned his family to me. But one thing I knew was that his parents divorced when he was very young. His father was an alcoholic and died of late-stage liver cancer when Noah was 11. His mother remarried and never looked after him again. It was fair to say that his upbringing had been tragic. This meant that both during his school years and after starting work, he was fiercely driven. He also cherished me fiercely. Also, he could give me a beautiful future. But now, when trouble struck, he had left without a word. And once again, he was carrying all the burdens alone. Noah, where are you? I spent my days searching for him, and every night, I would return exhausted to Maya's apartment, clutching our photo albums, flipping through the pages of our past, tears streaming down my face. Our past happiness now was like countless sharp swords piercing my heart, one by one. The pain made it impossible to breathe. Then a single photograph suddenly pulled me back from my reverie. It was a picture of us taken 2 years ago at the beach. He had said he loved the ocean most. And he loved the Mayday song, Ocean of Life. He would often sing it in my ear. Even if the whole world abandons me, at least my happiness and sorrow are mine to decide. He would sing, so I say just let it be. I know after the tide ebbs it will surely rise again. What's the big deal? For a long time I had thought he sang that line about his own childhood, about his parents abandoning him. So every time he sang that song I would nestle in his arms, telling him that his world now had me in it. But I had forgotten the next line of the lyrics. Often I go all out, fight with all my might but leave no trace. Now he had indeed left no trace. The next morning, I took the high-speed train to that coastal city we had once visited. I went to every landmark we had ever checked in at, holding his picture, searching for his presence. But no one said they had seen him. It wasn't until dusk, as I arrived at the last landmark, that I finally saw the back of the man I longed to see in my dreams, sitting on the rocks by the sea. In that instant, tears burst from my eyes. I covered my mouth, crouching on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. Little girl, what's wrong? Are you all right? An old woman, her back slightly stooped, slowly approached me, looking at me with concern. I frantically wiped away my tears, my gaze fixed on Noah in the distance. A new fear gripped me. What if he suddenly jumped off the rocks? Little girl, you know that young man, don't you? He comes here every evening. The old woman's words brought a sliver of relief. Grandma, do you know what he does here every day? The old woman pointed to a patch of clover in the distance. That young man is quite romantic. He comes here every day to look for 4-leaf clovers. He Said he wants to find 99 of them to give to his girlfriend. At her words, the tears I had just managed to suppress broke free again. This was just a casual joke I had made 2 years ago when we visited. I had said I didn't like men giving women roses, it was too cliché. I told him if he was truly sincere, he would find 99 four-leaf clovers. I never imagined that he would take my unwitting joke so seriously. I hid in the distance, watching him, hunched over, searching for four-leaf clovers among a patch of ordinary three-leaf ones. His beard was scruffy, his hair looked unwashed for days, as if he had aged considerably, appearing terribly haggard. But each time he found one, a joyful, excited smile would light up his face, and he would carefully press it into a book. Only when the sun had completely set did he finally head back. I quietly followed him and discovered he had rented a tiny, dilapidated house by the sea. I didn't go in to find him immediately. Instead, the next day, after he went out for breakfast, I secretly slipped inside. The house was incredibly Barton. Besides a bed, there was only a worn-out table. But on the table sat an exquisite four-leaf clover gift box. I carefully opened it and found it filled with perfectly preserved, dried four-leaf clovers. I counted them. There were 96. In the center of the clovers was a small envelope. I carefully picked it up. My heart pounded in my throat as I opened it. Inside there was only a bank card. On the back of the card, a tiny note was taped. Elara, this is the money from selling the apartment. The password is your birthday. I'm sorry, this is the only way I can leave you. You must be happy. Instantly, tears blurred my vision. The relentless stream of tears soaked the already dried four-leaf clovers. Noah, you bastard! I cried silently. How can I be happy without you? But I didn't wait for Noah in the house. Instead, I carefully put everything back in its place, left the house, and quietly watched him from a distance. Again. In the evening, he indeed went to the beach again, hunched over, searching for the remaining 3 four-leaf clovers. This time he was lucky. After just half an hour he found the last 3. But his face held no smile. Instead, his eyes were red and tears streamed down his face. Knew. Those 99 four-leaf clovers were what had sustained him until now. With his goal accomplished, he no longer had any hope of living. Back at the house, he carefully used a hairdryer to dry the clovers, then opened the gift box and filled in the last 3 empty slots. After closing the box, again he took a deep breath. Then he stood up and went to a nearby courier service. Please, you must deliver this into Elara Lane's hands personally. Thank you. He instructed the person repeatedly, until the courier grew impatient. Only then did he leave with a sense of peace. But this time he didn't go home. Instead, under the cover of darkness, he slowly walked towards the sea. Moonlight spilled onto his face. His eyes, however, held no light, only profound darkness. At the beach, he didn't hesitate. He walked into the water step by agonizing step, until the melody of Ocean of Life began to play. The familiar tune sent a shockwave through his lifeless body. Then he suddenly turned around. In the dim moonlight he saw me standing there in a white dress. Elara. He stared at me in disbelief, thinking he was hallucinating, until the seawater reached my knees. But I kept walking forward resolutely. Elara. Watching the waves continuously lap higher, he finally understood that this was no hallucination. I was truly standing behind him. He rushed towards me, grabbing my shoulders tightly. The warmth emanating from my body confirmed my undeniable presence. Let go of me, I said, my voice cold, but I didn't rush to drag him back to shore. Instead, I shook off his hands. You want to die, don't you? I'll grant your wish. I pushed his hands away. Come on, let's keep going. Let's die together. After shaking him off, I continued to walk forward without hesitation, the seawater quickly rising past my chest. This finally sent him into a frenzy. He desperately rushed towards me, seizing my hands tightly. Elara, what are you doing? Come back with me. Then what are you doing? Let go of me. I screamed, tears streaming down my face, shaking off his hands again. I have late-stage liver cancer. Staying by your side will only drag you down. Wouldn't it be better if I just left quietly? He grabbed my hands again, refusing to let me move another inch forward. Tears mixed with seawater completely drenched his face. I still fought back, my own tears refusing to break. What? I made a joke, and you went and found 99 four-leaf clovers for me. I railed. And you left all the money from selling the apartment for me. Is that what you call dying quietly? I shouted, my voice raw. You think what you're doing is so noble, don't you? My voice rose, filled with desperate love. But to me you're being utterly selfish. How can I be happy without you? Can I? Noah was sobbing uncontrollably, holding me tightly. But I'm incurable, he choked out. I don't smoke, I don't drink. Why is fate so cruel to me? Why? Indeed, apart from the past few days where he had been drinking heavily to force me away, in the 8 years I had known him he had barely touched alcohol. He knew his father had died of liver cancer and that the disease could be hereditary, so he had always been extremely careful, all to prevent that cancerous gene within him from erupting. But fate, it seemed, was truly cruel. It made the miserable even more miserable. Because of me. If it wasn't for my happiness, would you have stayed up all night studying, working overtime? I cried, hitting his chest. I'm the one who caused this to you, don't you understand that? So now you're dying and I'll die with you. This is what I owe you. Noah never would have expected me to say that. But I knew in my heart that his liver cancer was indeed because of me. It was the endless nights of hard work that had exhausted his liver. Elara, don't think like that, he pleaded, his voice trembling. It's a hereditary disease. It has nothing to do with you. He looked at me in terror, desperately trying to comfort me. But I spoke with unwavering resolve. All right, Noah. I'm only giving you 2 choices now. My voice was firm. Either tonight we die together. My voice broke with emotion. Or you come back with me. Whether it's chemotherapy or a liver transplant, no matter how much it costs, I'll be with you. Even if in the end you still die, I accept it. Noah stared at me, stunned. But that way, your life will be so hard afterwards. Whether my life is hard or not is none of your concern. Just tell me. Do you agree? I cried, taking another step deeper into the water. If you don't agree, then today we end this painful life. Tears streamed down my face. After all, what meaning does life have without you? Seeing me struggle to walk further into the waves, Noah seized me again, clutching me tightly. All right, Elara. I promise you. But you have to promise me one thing too. He looked at me, his eyes pleading. If in the end I can't be cured and I die, you must live on. Seeing him agree, the tears I had been holding back finally surged forth. Okay, I promise. If it fails, I will live for you. I then added, my voice firm despite the sobs. But I will never allow you to leave me this way. With that, I held him tightly, sobbing hysterically. 1 year later on this same beach, I stood there, still in a white dress, gazing out at the boundless sea, until Maya's voice, full of joy, sounded beside me. Elara, what are you looking at? Hurry up, the wedding's about to begin. I turned, a radiant smile on my face, and took Maya's hand, walking towards the wedding stage. On the stage, Noah stood, smiling his usual goofy, heartwarming smile. His hair, still growing back, made him a little less conventionally handsome than before. But it made him all the more charming. Bride, through changing winds and shifting seasons, through the passage of time, do you promise to forever stand by your groom, to be the beloved of his life? I do. With tears in my eyes, I shouted those 2 words, my voice ringing with absolute certainty.